I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 32, and let's focus on verses 20 through 23. Now, because of this, King Hezekiah and the prophet Isaiah, the son of Amos, prayed and cried out to heaven. And then the Lord sent an angel who cut down every mighty man of valor, leader, and the captain in the camp of the king of Assyria. And so he returned shamefaced to his own land. And when he had gone into the temple of his God, some of his own offspring struck him down with a sword there. Thus the Lord saved Hezekiah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem from the hand of Sennacherib, the king of Assyria, and from the hand of all others, and guided them on every side. And many brought gifts to the Lord at Jerusalem, and presents to Hezekiah, king of Judah, so that he was exalted in the sight of all the nations thereafter. Now, I love the sport of mixed martial arts, also known as MMA. And in fact, MMA is the fastest growing sport in the world, although some in the South would claim that pickleball is rivaling it now. MMA combines the disciplines of boxing and wrestling, martial arts like jiu-jitsu. And that recipe of combative styles makes the fighting more dynamic and the matchups unpredictable. Remember when all of us, all we had was this regular boxing, right? Remember that, watching those Muhammad Ali fights? I remember as a boy staying up way past my bedtime to watch the ending of Muhammad Ali fights on television, with Howard Cosell there announcing. And I especially remember in those long drawn-out fights of his latter career. And then came my college years, and boxing world saw the rise of a guy named Mike Tyson. Very different from the entertaining, mouthy, rope-a-dope style of Muhammad Ali and the fighters before him. Iron Mike Tyson, as they called him, would end fights in the first couple of rounds. I recall some fights that ended in just a few seconds. And about that time, though, Tyson fights became boring and sort of predictable, although probably not so boring for his opponents. But we got tired of the long, drawn-out promotional buildup of the fight of the century, only to see the challenger lying on the canvas before Tyson could muster a sweat. And that is kind of how today's chapter feels. Verses 1 through 19 are all this buildup of a battle to finally crush God's people and His word along with them. And we know that if the battle had been against Hezekiah and the Assyrian army, well, the Vegas odds would have been heavily in Assyria's favor. But Assyrian King Sennacherib, which I'm sure is a name that you almost named your own children, well, he made a huge mistake. In the midst of taunting Hezekiah, he taunted the God of Israel. And that meant that he was picking a fight with an unbeatable opponent. And Hezekiah, along with his friend, the prophet Isaiah, knew it. Consider this, 2 Chronicles 32, verses 7 and 8. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or dismayed before the king of Assyria, nor before all the multitude that is with him. For there are more with us than with him. With him is an arm of flesh, but with us is the Lord our God, to help us and to fight our battles. And the people were strengthened by the words of Hezekiah, king of Judah. Sennacherib insulted Hezekiah, and specifically Hezekiah's faith in God. And then he insulted God himself. And finally, he insulted the faith of the citizens of Judah. And we know that fear and dread fell on the people because it falls on us whenever the world insults our faith in God and our trust in His Word. But after all that hype and bluster, the Lord simply whistled to the bench and summoned one angel who ended it in the first round. And God will do the same for us too. So keep pressing on in faith. God has got this. Somebody needed to hear that today. I know I did. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people like you. and your giving to Groundworks Ministries transforms lives. Would you consider making a donation to Groundworks Ministries today? We need your monthly support now more than ever. Donating is secure and it's easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. Another way to help is to tell people about Groundworks Ministries. Share our podcast with your friends and family and on your social media. And of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.